Connecting the Jamaican diaspora abroad and at home. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story, highlighting the positive role of the Jamaican diaspora. Both sides of the story.
Always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Time now for Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. We will not take sides, but we listen to your side. Join us as we explore the issues, present the facts, speak with the experts, and as always, listen to both sides. What's your story? Tell us on Both Sides of the Story. 922-4112, 922-4113, 922-4114, and 922-4115. You can listen to both sides of the story on the Gleaner's website, www.go-jamaica.com, on your mobile phones at tunein.com or nobex.com, or by dialing 832-551-5045 or 213-493-0133 in the USA. If you're in the UK, you can dial 020-3519-0145, and in Germany, 051-180-904044. Our email address is bothsides106@live.com, and you can join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo, and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
We see then how far the monuments of wit and learning are more durable than the monuments of power or of the hands. For have not the verses of Homer continued 2,500 years or more without the loss of a syllable or letter, during which time infinite palaces, temples, castles, cities have been decayed and demolished?
Learning is better than silver or gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but our good education will never decay. Little boys, little girls, oh yeah, just take my advice and go to school and learn the golden rules. You will find out what I'm saying to you, that our good education will never decay. find out. Oh, yeah, what I'm saying to you. That a good education will never be paid. Oh, yeah, that a good education.
It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 10th day of the 5th month of 2023, the International Year of Millets. Millets are cereals grown in warm countries and regions with poor soils, bearing a large crop of small seeds, which are chiefly used to make flour. 2023 is also the International Year of Dialogue as a guarantee of peace. The American Hospital Association and affiliated American health organizations are marking May as Mental Health Awareness Month, Stroke Awareness Month, Arthritis Awareness Month, Better Hearing and Speech Month, Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, Global Employee Health and Fitness Month, Healthy Vision Month, Hepatitis Awareness Month, Melanoma, Skin Cancer Detection and Prevention Month, Asthma and Allergy Awareness Month, Celiac Disease Awareness Month, High Blood Pressure Education Month, Osteoporosis Awareness and Prevention Month, Lupus Awareness Month, Physical Fitness and Sports Month, Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month, and Older Americans Month. The month of May is being observed here in Jamaica as Child Month, Exporters Month, Workers Month, Education Month, and Lupus Awareness Month. In fact, today is World Lupus Day. We'll get back to that in a little while from now. Today is also World Move for Health Day, which is being celebrated here in Jamaica under the Jamaica Moves campaign. And let's not forget members of the Indian community who are commemorating Indian Arrival Day. The first group of Indians was brought to Jamaica as indentured laborers on this day in 1845. It's Constitution Day in Micronesia, Dia de la Madre or Mother's Day in Mexico, National Receptionist Day in the USA, and Señor de la Asunción in Peru. As we've indicated, or did we? It's Teachers' Day, and we're in the middle of Education Week, which started on Sunday, the 7th of May, 2023. Tomorrow is Helen Stills Professional Development Day, and on Friday, we'll see award functions organized by corporate entities for educators, while Saturday is being reserved for Adventists' participation. Hoy es miércoles el 10 de mayo 2023 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est mercredi le 10 mai 2023 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Wednesday, the 10th of May, 2023, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to both sides of the story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Little boys, little girls, oh man, just take my advice. Go to school and learn the golden rules. You will find out what I'm saying to you. That a good education will never be bad.
We salute all the educators in Jamaica and the rest of the world on this World Teachers Day. We salute you, we celebrate you, we thank you, we wish you well, and we trust that you'll continue to evolve from strength to strength. We want to also recognize on a day like today, World Lupus Day, all those impacted. In fact, we're told by the experts that every day, more than 5 million people worldwide struggle with the often debilitating health consequences of lupus. What is lupus? It's a potentially fatal autoimmune disease capable of damaging virtually any part of the body, including the skin, heart, lungs, kidneys, and brain. 9 out of 10 people with lupus are women. 80% of new lupus cases are diagnosed among women ages 15 to 44, striking at the peak of their reproductive and career potential. A merciless predator, lupus permanently disables many young women. In an autoimmune disorder like lupus, the immune system is not able to tell the difference between foreign substances called antigens and its own cells and tissues. The immune system then makes antibodies directed against self. These antibodies, called autoantibodies, auto meaning self, attack the body's own cells and cause inflammation, pain, and damage in various parts of the body. Inflammation is considered the primary feature of lupus. Inflammation, which in Latin means set on fire, is characterized by pain, heat, redness, swelling, and loss of function, either on the inside or on the outside of the body, or both. Uncontrolled inflammation can permanently damage vital organs. In its most severe form, lupus can cause disfiguring rashes and scarring, multiple miscarriages, kidney, heart, and lung failure, impaired neurological function, strokes, heart attacks, and death. Lupus also complicates and limits the treatment of cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Many people with lupus are unable to maintain employment or attend school because of extended lupus-related absences and hospitalizations. More in a moment.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Lux, Paul, cover your nose.
How are you?
No, and stay far from me. It looks like the flu have you away.
I mean to tell you, I have fever this morning, and right now I'm in some pain.
That's good.
Still I gotta try
Very
to
good. Well
some
done.
phone credit.
It's like you never hear us here with the nurse tell me the other day. So we feel rest if we have the flu. We feel cover we nose and we mouth when we cough or we sneeze. And we feel wash we hand regular with soap and water. You better try go back to your yard and stop spread the flu. The flu is no joke. Visit your doctor or nearest health center. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
I hear you.
Come to the Denby 4-H Center in Clarendon Friday, May 12th for the Jamaica 4-H Club's National Achievement Expo under the theme Grow Smart, Eat Smart, Youth Responding to Food Security. Learn about Grow Smart technologies. Visit the Eat Smart Food Hub. There'll be prizes, awards, agency displays, and more. Admission adults $300, children $100. Gates open at 8 a.m. That's the Jamaica 4-H Club's National Achievement Expo, Friday, May 12th at the Denby 4-H Center in Clarendon.
Education will never be little boys, little girls.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. And just to conclude on the subject of lupus on this World Lupus Day, a majority of those affected must live with debilitating pain and profound fatigue, which greatly affects their quality of life. For some, memory and mental processing may be impaired, rendering simple tasks such as recalling names or balancing a checkbook as significant challenges. There is always the ever-present threat of a flare, the sudden onset of more serious symptoms. Despite its enormous public health complications, lupus remains a dangerously under-recognized and underappreciated women's health issue. Our thoughts, sympathies, prayers, and love to those being impacted by this dreaded disease, lupus, as we observe World Lupus Day. Good afternoon to all the educators once again, those of us who have been touched by these educators. Today would be a good time as any to say thank you. If you can read whatever you're looking at, as the saying goes, if you can read, thank a teacher. If you can write, thank a teacher. If you can speak, thank a teacher. So feel free to use the opportunity to convey Teachers' Day greetings to your favorite teacher here on both sides of the story throughout this afternoon. We'll be more than happy to facilitate and accommodate such greetings. After all, it's the least we can do for our educators, otherwise known as teachers. Right now, though, the lines are open to you, 876-922-4112-5. Whatever your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, your concerns, your recommendations, your issues, whatever is on your mind, the lines are open for you. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVANMALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. So that's on the one hand. And remember, if you don't have a Facebook account, no sweat. There's always YouTube. You don't need to have an account to access YouTube. All you need is a smart device like a smartphone, tablet, computer, laptop, desktop, any one of those. Then you need internet connection. More importantly, though, internet connectivity. One sure way to test for connectivity is by opening a browser like Google Chrome, for example. And if you're able to browse, that means you're good to go. If not, well, you might have a little matter on your hands there, which can be resolved quite easily, unless there's a major outage. You get the point. Good afternoon to Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. He says, Happy Teacher's Day, Mr. Dervan Malcolm. You're very kind, Ricardo. Thank you very much. And a shout out to all the listeners from across the world, Ricardo says. Chris Banton says, big up yourself, Sir Malcolm. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you too, Chris Banton. Jacqueline Simmons says, good afternoon, blessings. Welcome, Jacqueline Simmons. Norman Hines is in St. Thomas saying, blessed afternoon, Sir Dervan Malcolm and listeners to you too, Norman Hines. Faye Weller says, blessed afternoon, Mr. Dervan and faithful listeners. Let us give God thanks for another beautiful day. And so say all of us, Faye Weller. Thank you very much for your message. Here's a call that has come through on our text line, looks like, or WhatsApp. This is the same text line that doubles as the WhatsApp number. And the number to get to us directly looks like this gentleman looks like, I'm looking at the display picture. He seems to be very well decorated, possibly a Marine or some Army official or perhaps a pilot. Well, let's find out who this is. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling both sides of the story.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I'm calling from the USA. This is everybody call me Lebanon.
What's the name?
Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Yes, and
All
as
right.
you mentioned, I did serve over 20 years in the U.S. Military.
Well, congratulations. And as they say in America, thanks for your service.
Mr. Malcolm, I listen to your program every single day. Even Saturday, I try my best to listen to you. And before I go, I like to say thank you to all the teachers in Grovetown Primary School in South Manchester, because I attended Grovetown Primary School. But most of all, I like to say to all the wonderful teachers at Tivoli High School. That's the high school that I started my career, because I leave Tivoli High School at the age of 14 and migrate to the United States. But I have to continue to say to the teachers in West Kingston, I appreciate everything, because when I went to the United States, what I've accomplished at Tivoli High School, they weren't even teaching those subjects, and they, so Tivoli is way above what was going on in the United States. But Mr. Malcolm, before I go, I'm listening to everyone, and they, people bringing politics into what the journalists were wearing to the People's National Party headquarters. And, instead of saying that the PNP vice president or whatever he is general secretary were
Deputy.
wrong, they're trying to blame the journalists. The journalists were doing their job. You understand, Mr. Malcolm? So the PNP need to stop pointing finger. And I'm still waiting patiently to hear Mr. Mark Golding to come out and say, because remember when Jamaica jumped, they were lower from the journalists, and they're saying that Jamaica jumped from 10 to 32. The People's National Party were blaming the Jamaica Labour Party. And 2 weeks after, PNP disrespecting the journalists. And like I said, I stand with the journalists, and Mark Golding and the People's National Party need to stop pointing finger, and the People's National Party supporters need to start saying, oh, they're coming to a PNP headquarters, they shouldn't wear green. That is what I called to say to you, Mr. Malcolm.
All right. Thank you for the call. Take care.
Okay, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Here's another call coming through, 718. That looks like New York. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Good afternoon. I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Not too bad, not too bad. A lot of Mandaran, right? That's what you say, Mandaran?
Yes.
I could tell you something before I go what I want to talk about. I could tell you before Trump, because Trump had a lot of controversy in America with politics, right?
Yes.
But before Trump, I think in New York I could walk into any political rally. Say I could walk into any Republican rally and say I'll be assured say Biden for president. And I'm pretty sure I would never get attacked. Nobody would even pay me no mind. Or vice versa, I could walk in a rally for Biden and say Trump for president, and I would never get attacked. Obviously, there are places in America, that probably are more, more, what you call it, more poisonous than other places. US is a big place. But I think still in New York, I think I could walk into any place with a shirt, some Biden for president, and nobody wouldn't bother me. I don't know, it's time for us to cut out this garbage about PMP and JLP. I heard somebody just called Simon and they talk about, he went to California and he went to KFC, one was red and one was blue because the Crips and the Bloods. And I was like, how can we compare our political leaders to Crips and Bloods? These are people who shoot, kill, stab people. How can we do that, Dervan?
Yeah, well, it's a function of how low we have gone so far. That's a function of where humanity is. And so it requires those of us who know better to make our voices be heard. And where there is hatred, as the prayer of Saint Francis Assisi says, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. In other words, if we're all going to be calling down brimstone and fire on everybody, as opposed to seeking to pacify, seeking to harmonize, etc. So it comes back to us, the people, whether we're here in Jamaica, in the US, or elsewhere.
Yeah, well, Dervan, the point I'm making though, if our political leaders, if we cannot see past orange or green, or PMP or JLP, how can we talk about a country that people can live and work 2030, whatever it is? How can we get there though? How are we gonna get there?
Yeah, it is. The mindset is so deep, it's so embedded that it's difficult to get out of some people's psyche, and therefore it means it's going to be with us for some time to come. But
you know what is doing?
Go ahead.
You know what is doing? You know what is doing? I mean, I think from what I heard in Jamaica, there so far, how many days in a year are there? 400 something days already, 400 something days? No, not 4, sorry. How many days in a year already?
I don't know what number day today is. I need to check.
30 times 4, I think was it 200 and something days? Sorry, not 2, but what is it? But they are every day in Jamaica there's like 3-4 people died, right? So basically,
Sorry, one moment, please. One moment.
yeah.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Every time my son send the liquor barrel for me, I have to go sit down and walk all day like me not have nothing else to do. No, sir, you not fair do this. Tired of spending all day at the wall to clear your barrel? Driver, turn up that the liquor bit for me there. Starting May 1, use contactless clearance to clear your non-commercial shipments that avoid the long wait. Call to make a custom today at 876-922-51408 or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jf. But God goody, me go call customs and learn about the contactless clearance. Hook me up.
less waiting, more convenience. Try Customs contactless clearance today.
Farming today is becoming more technologically driven. No wonder Jacto farming equipment has the cutting edge. With Jacto, you are guaranteed sprayers that are durable, user-friendly, low maintenance, have controlled application, efficient and practical. Call Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica at 876-757-0022 and inquire about our Jacto manual and battery-operated sprayers and our tractor-mounted boom and cannon sprayers.
Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness. Your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-4112 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, so Dervan, sorry, the numbers there. Let me just repeat myself here. So far in the year, we have about 200 and probably 220 something, 28 days in a year. And we've got over 400 murders, okay? It should have been more likely the other way around. So we got over 400 murders, 100 and something days in a year. These are the things we need to be talking about. How are we going to get our crime situation under control instead of stupid PMP and Labour Right and red and purple and blue shirt. That's just not getting us anywhere. But anyhow, one of the main thing I want to call you for today, I think you had it.
Well, I hope you'll be listening tomorrow, all things being well. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, hosting a 2-day expo. And it will be a real expose on how the JCF has been seeking to re-energize its force and to reintegrate technologies, etc. So we'll be broadcasting live from the National Arena tomorrow afternoon, live spare, God willing, all things being well. So hope you'll be able to listen.
I'm sure we're listening. One of the questions I want to find out and ask them. It's good to have these things going, these awareness seminar, or what you want to call it, so the public can aware of what the police are doing, where they are, and where they want to go. So the question I would like for you to ask them when you're here tomorrow, where are we right now? Who do you like to be as far as technology, as far as people, as far as as far as you pick up the phone and call 119, we're in Jamaica, and say within 15-20 minutes
you have a police show up and they're very professional. If there's a backup, they need backup, they can go on the radio and call from backup, say, you know what, we have been shot at, or these, the situation seems to be very, very toxic. So we need more people, manpower, and say within 15 minutes or less, more police will show up. Where are we right now in respect to these things, Dervan? So, can we pull a car over, for example, call in their plate, or license plate, or and we get run their plate, or you go on a computer, run their plate, and we can say this car is stolen, this person is wanted, all this stuff. Where are we with respect to these things? So probably these are the questions I like to probably pose tomorrow when you're at the seminar or the expo.
All right, we look forward to asking a couple of questions along those lines.
Right. So the main thing I call for today, I saw an article in the Gleaner. I said duty-free importation of European automobiles. Have you seen this article?
I haven't gone through today's paper yet.
Okay. So it's saying basically, coming this year, you could import automobile from Europe, from the EU, duty-free. So what I want to know, like a person like me living in America, wants to come out to Jamaica or wants to live back in Jamaica, where that leave me? Can I import? Are they going to be included? People like myself, as you know, in the US, there's probably more than half the people that living out of Jamaica live in the US. Also, probably somewhere 3/4. So what about this? What about us? Are there anything else included in this, or what's going on?
We'd have to find out from Jamaica Customs or the what's the name of the other? There's another.
Well, I think the person we need to find out from it is what's her name? The Honorable Camilla Johnson. I think she's the one. Was the one who rigged the deal with the European Union, this free trade agreement. I'm for free trade, but it'll be very how would I say it? It'll be very it'll be very, I would say like almost a spit in the face to know that you have Jamaican live here in the US and you can import automobile from Europe for duty free. But if I want to come out to Jamaica to live, I have to pay
That's what the story said. You would have to pay if you're, as a Jamaican, you wanted to take advantage of it.
Well, it said basically if you want it. Okay, so coming this year, the European Union broke a deal from this article, broke a deal with Jamaica to import a European car from Europe to Jamaica for duty free.
But does it exclude Jamaicans in the diaspora?
No, it does not. But if I don't live in Europe, I then have to go to Europe and buy a car to import to Jamaica. I don't live in Europe.
Yeah, but I don't think that would hinder you from getting a good deal on a motor vehicle. Their motor vehicles are a dime a dozen in Jamaica these days. If you drive the south coast from St. Catherine all the way down to Negril Point, you will see a car lot like every 2 steps. It's crazy.
Right. I understand all that, but the point that I'm making, okay, is so basically what this article is saying again. So European cars will go to Jamaica with duty free, right? And again, I'm not disputing that part of it, but the point you're making. So what you're saying then is that if you want a duty-free car, you should come to Jamaica and buy one from Europe.
No, you're free to buy your car wherever you want to buy your car, but I don't know. I haven't read the documentation establishing the arrangement that you referenced. I'm still going through the e-paper now as I'm talking to you, and I'm not seeing the story yet.
He said duty-free importation of European automobiles. That's what he said.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the story.
Yeah, it's a kind of like a breaking story. It said, I think it is published today. Today is the 10th, right? Wednesday, yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't in the Gleaner then. It was just on the internet.
On the internet, yeah. It's an online paper.
No, then
I'm just curious in the sense that, to me, I don't know. I'm just curious that, the people need to benefit from some of these the most. And I'm going to say this to you, Dervan, before I go here. We over here in the diaspora, especially in the US, we do a lot of heavy lifting as far as giving back, as far as coming to Jamaica. I heard Richie say one day, which is so true. As you know, when you're a citizen or even a green card holder, you can go to different. I could go to any Caribbean country basically without a visa. I can go to probably England. I can go to a lot of other European country without getting a visa. And to get a visa to go to the world, you need a visa. It's pretty much easy.
Well, this is it provides an opportunity as a group, as a diaspora community, to lobby the government of Jamaica for some certain concessions.
Well, you're right, and I think when I spoke to when Karen Donkey was the diaspora, we want to call, I forgot her title, full title. What I think I spoke, I think I spoke to her. I'm not sure, but one of my suggestions was that people should be able to join with a small fee and then get a diaspora membership card. When, for example, you come to Jamaica, you could say I'm a member of the diaspora. Money could go to after, obviously, to different causes in Jamaica. For different causes, it could be school, it could be whatever. But the small fee would be there to administrative duty, plus whatever left over go to different causes. But you could come back to Jamaica and say I'm a diaspora member, and you could get a certain discount on several things. It could be attraction, it could be hotels, it could be rent a car, it could be a lot of things. But again, some of these things, I don't know. I think, when you're not in this so-called, your name don't come with a title at the end of it. Jamaican people don't tend to give you a lot of years. They just look you over. So that's my take on that. But the point I'm going to make here is that again, I'm not saying we should get something for nothing. Okay, I'm against that totally. But at the same time, we should be looked at more a way where, okay, this group is here and they're doing so much, so at the same time, one hand wash the other. Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
We hear you loud and clear.
Right. So I'm open with this duty free coming from Europe. I don't know what the arrangement is. I'm trying to read the articles in the paper with some mumble jumble in there, which I don't understand fully. But I think it would be unfair to get duty-free cars coming from Europe and not from the US. I just think that is so unfair. That's my take on the whole thing.
Well, this is where lobbying comes in. This is where members of the diaspora lobby government to act in a favorable way. Other than that, I don't see anything happening without that kind of an intervention, because there is strength in numbers, and it does demonstrate a level of seriousness in being able to benefit from such an arrangement. But again, we don't know the nature of the agreement or arrangement signed. I'm seeing the story now on the Jamaica-Gleaner.com website. Duty free. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Are you planning to buy land or property? Before you make your purchase, find out who is the legal owner or who is legally authorized to sell the property. Ensure all property tax payments are up to date and consult an attorney at law who will guide you through the process and protect your interests. Use Eland Jamaica at nla.gov.jm to check on matters pertaining to property information. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or WhatsApp us at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, to serve you better.
ISA Trust Foundation, Couples Resorts, RGR Junior and Digicel Business present An Evening with Michael Bolton, featuring reggae stars Kimani Molly and Taurus Riley, and hosted by Wayne and Tammy Mitchell. Saturday, May 27 at Couples Sanssouci in Ocherias. Tickets $250 inclusive of food and drinks. All proceeds to support building the Mary Issa Pediatric and Adolescent Health Center. Purchase tickets online at issatrustfoundation.com and at select ticket outlets. It's the all-inclusive concert experience of the year. An evening with Michael Bolton, sponsored by CPJ, JN Group, Water, Richmond Estates, and the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. To learn more, follow us on social media at ISA Trust Foundation.
Right, so here's the story, and I'm understanding better now that yesterday was Europe Day, which we announced on this program as well. And coming out of the Europe Day celebrations yesterday was an announcement of duty-free importation of European automobiles. I'm not surprised here because the European Union does a lot for Jamaica and in Jamaica. And I don't find it strange that there is some kind of special arrangement that has been worked out. No, the story says duty-free importation of European automobiles is to come into effect this year, says Ambassador, Delegation of the European Union, EU to Jamaica, Her Excellency Marianne Van Steen. As a trading partner, I'm very proud to announce that after 15 years, we have a trade agreement. So they've been working on it. They've been working on it for a little while. As a trading partner, I'm very proud to announce that after 15 years, we have a trade agreement, free trade agreement in force. We have arrived at the end of almost all transitional arrangements of that agreement, which means that if you like European cars, as from this year, you will be able to import them without paying any duties. Now, that is major. And as I said, I've long known the relationship between the European Union and Jamaica over quite a number of years. So I'm not surprised at all. It's part of the very, very good relationship between the European Union and Jamaica. So no surprises there. Yes.
Again, Dervan, here you go. I don't have any quarrel with whatever they want to work with Europe, but the best relationship Jamaica has is with the US and with the diaspora in the US, because that's where most of our diaspora are.
Yes, but
and the point I'm making is
at this stage there's nothing that says I can't see anything that would stop you if from Jamaica you order a vehicle from Europe. What is there to stop you?
I want to order one from America, where my brothers and sisters maybe make them here.
Well, lobby. In that case, then, lobby the government on behalf of the diaspora.
I'm just calling you to saying that I'm hoping that there's something in the pipeline also. In this situation.
And remember as well that Jamaicans also live in Europe. There's a growing population in Europe.
I am I'm not telling you that not Jamaican, but I'm saying majority of Jamaicans in diaspora are living in the US. And it would be unfair that a European car can go to Jamaica duty free, and I live in the US, I want to bring one there, and it's not duty free. It would be very unfair. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm saying to you, if you feel that strongly about it, lobby the government. You have a diaspora representative where you are in New York.
I will do that. So I'm just pointing that out to you. That will be very unfair. Simple. Yeah. I'm not telling you that I won't do that. Obviously, I'm going to take it further. I'm just saying, if I can bring one from Europe to Jamaica for duty free, it would be unfair. When I go to Jamaica with my car, or decide to send 1 year, or import 1 year, they tell me the duty is 100%, or whatever it is, or 50%. It would be unfair. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the lobbying can also happen at that end. If enough members of the diaspora feel that strongly about it, the diaspora wields a lot of power, the diaspora wields a lot of power.
You're totally correct. But one thing I find here, especially in the US, when it comes to the diaspora, we are so fragmented that I don't know, it's sad. I mean, I told you before I go here, I don't want to take up much more time. The last diaspora conference we had it, and I was online for the whole duration of it, most of the days. Most days we have 1,000 people. And in the United States, I know there are more than 1 million Jamaicans are living in the United States. More than 1 million. In the United States alone, I know that for sure. In New York, in the tri-state area, there are probably somewhere close to 1 million people living in the tri-state area alone. And I just saw 1,000 people online. And I'm not, I'm not saying that, I know we're not going to get probably 5%. But even when we are at a meeting sometimes, or when something's going on, you don't see much of us showing up. We don't show up for things, and then we complain that nothing's not going on. We can't. So you're right. I'm totally right on that. The problem is that how do we get people to realize that this is in their interest? If it's just like voting. If you don't vote, shut up. Because at the end of the day, you are part of the problem. You did not vote. A lot of times you don't even, you say, no man, not now go on, I'm not going to vote, not now go on. You don't find out, says, okay, one must better than the other. So even if you don't like one, vote for the other. I think that's a message to send. And when the other one goes in there and not doing what you want to do, vote him out. But you gotta participate. If you don't participate, whatever you get, that's it, you deserve it. And same thing here. A lot of us don't participate in anything that's going to change anything. And that's why I'm pointing out this to you. I am not anything about, saying it's wrong for the duty free from Europe. I'm not saying that. I think, I would prefer to see less car in Jamaica and somewhere a bit of public transportation. But hey, I have a car there, so I can't, what do you call it? I can't fault a person who wants to have a car, because the public transportation is not good. So at the same time, I support a person who wants a car and want a reasonable price car. And if you want one from Europe, nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying again, I'm hoping that the relevant authority can look out for people like myself or anybody in Jamaica who want to import one from North America.
We hear you loud and clear.
All right, Dervan, take care, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Another of the stories trending right now, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, says it's being assisted by the Jamaica Fire Brigade to put out a fire that's now raging at Riverton Disposal Site in St. Andrew. The NSWMA says it was alerted to a fire at the facility about 10:30 this morning. It says the fire brigade was subsequently notified and 4 units were dispatched to the site. Executive Director of the NSWMA, Audley Gordon, says teams on the ground are working hard to extinguish the fire and smother the smoke by nightfall. Let's see how that goes. Let's go to the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm. Is what? A D-Day yesterday for Jamaica from Europe?
And the day before as well.
Wow, I wish I get one without that doesn't use water.
What's on your mind this afternoon? It's Teachers' Day. It's World Lupus Day. There's a fire at Riverton City Dump.
You see that Riverton City, Mr. Malcolm? Are you there?
I'm listening.
I told them years ago to build a trench around Riverton City 10 feet by 4 feet, right? And just set up some catchment to it. You will have that water surrounded Riverton City. In case of any fire, all you need to do is drop a pump here or there, and then you start use the same water to wet it. Probably it goes right back into that that drain. It is simple, you know. It's like making a sea around it. Simple. The same water you pump, well, the fire now will actually use up that water. But when rainfall, it keep that, it's like a trough. It keep it full. You can have it like you don't have to pay any truck. I don't know what is happening to Jamaica. Right now, the crime is high in Jamaica. It's up to the T. They're killing people left, right, and center in this country. Look at Hanover. They're killing shopkeeper. They're killing business people all around. And I was able to drive from Montego Bay this morning without no plate whatsoever. I go on through Lucy, Green Island.
Maybe we should report it to the police after the fact so they can charge you.
Right? Well, catch me. And I'm in Black River right now without nothing but DC to ask me, where is your plate? Right? And my other friend gone through, wait a bit, right there now, doing the same survey, flagging. Let me tell you something, Mr. Malcolm. We shouldn't be able to just travel through Hanover freely with what is happening down there.
What is stopping you from moving through Hanover freely?
I said we should not just go through there freely because of the crime situation that is down there. The amount of research and coordination should be taking place in that space. We shouldn't just go through freely and I could have just drive through without plates. And the only time I see a police is when I was in Black River.
So you're calling us to tell us that you broke the law today?
I don't broke any law, but I'm simply saying I was just testing the system. We need some more intelligence, man.
But you're not a member of the police force, so you can't be testing the system by driving without plates.
Mr. Malcolm, this is Jamaica. I love this country. And I'm just saying to you that I feel like I'm not using the word cripple again, but in my era, we know what it is. I'm just saying that we need to feel the operations that's supposed to be out there in keeping us safe.
We hope you're able to attend the Jamaica Constabulary Force Expo at the National Arena over the next 4 days, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You will have a glorious opportunity to interact with police personnel on the ground inside the National Arena, and they can explain to you why they do or fail to do what they're supposed to do, etc. That sounds like a very good place to be over the next 4 days.
Yes, I don't think we need more police. What we need is more psychology.
Nobody said you needed more police. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock. Every time my son send the liquor barrel for me, I have to go sit down and walk all day like me not have nothing else to do. No, sir, you not fair do this.
So you're spending all day at the wall to clear your barrel?
Driver, turn up that the little bit for me there.
Start
Starting May 1, use contactless clearance to clear your non-commercial shipments and avoid the long wait. Call Jamaica Customs today at 876-922-51408 or email contactlessclearance@jca.gov.jm. But God goody, me go call customs and learn about the contactless clearance. Yeah.
Less waiting, more convenience. Try Customs contactless clearance today.
Parents, students, teachers, Paper and Things provides more than just great service. We are your source for a variety of printing, stationery, and binding supplies. We provide assistance for school assignments and projects. There are stickers, foam balls, cardboards, paints, Play-Doh, construction paper, teaching charts, and more. Paper and Things, a subsidiary of Speedy Prints, located at 20 Market Street, Montego Bay. Open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Telephone 940-1491. You will find out what I'm saying to you. That our good education will never be paid.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm, I don't speak big language, but I speak a little Kiswahili. And like I tell you this, right now I want to build a food market in Anchovy with a sick bay, with a nurse 24 hours. It's the first market going to build in this region with a sick bay with a nurse. Right? I want to upgrade the sidewalk close to me here so that it can be more friendly for disability to use. I want to put the ship back in the Lucy Harbour. You just imagine coming from Negril, looking across to see a ship in the harbour, Lucy. And when you reach to the Red Sea, coming through that bridge, you can spot the ship in the harbour, the cargo going in and out and make Hanover great again. This is what we want, We want this country to grow. And then we have to make sure so we keep this space safe. We need some drones that use balloon to hold it up in the air.
Well, those will be on show on over the next 4 days at the arena as well. You can ask questions about those.
Right? We need them. We need artificial evidence to deal with certain space and where we don't have manpower.
I think you meant to say artificial intelligence.
Right? Yes. Yes, Mr. Malcolm. Thank you. So we is that we love this country. I love this country, me personal. Right? And I want to see this country grow. I want to see miles of produce. Right? Look at the plan I have in front of me here. 10,000 coconuts. 70% of the coconut water will be going to Florida. The rest will be sell in local right here. Right? And I plant some sample trees in the space that I have. And it was city bearing. Man, thank you, Jesus. I love God.
Well, we're happy to hear that. So you are making hay while the sun shines. You're doing better than most.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm. I as I said, when people badmouth me, I just straighten up, brush off myself, and move on. I don't travel with the sadness.
I can't imagine why anyone would want to badmouth you. Anyway, leave it there for now. Thanks for the call, and we'll see you inside the National Arena.
Bless you, Mr. Malcolm.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Lisa Tomlinson says, good evening, sir. Where are you from originally? Kingston, Jamaica, Lisa. Kingston, Jamaica. Where are you originally from? Patrick Howell says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan. Excellent questions asked by Voice of New York to the police. The police are doing a poor job, says Patrick Howell. Bernadette Ogilvy says, Miss Nugent Ogilvy. Hello, Mr. Malcolm. and fellow listeners. Greetings from Whitby, Canada. Labor Day will be in Jamaica soon. Montpelier Housing Scheme residents will be working in the community park. And then Patrick Howell comes in again. He says, Happy Teachers' Day to all teachers. The real teachers, the real teacher teaches from his heart and not from the books, says Patrick. And Patrick goes on to say, I am so sorry that Nigel Clark could not have tied your pay package agreement to teachers of the Caribbean as he did to the judges. This is a disgrace to the teachers, says Patrick. Taki Lemqua says, bless on the downside of the afternoon, Dervan, and all on board. Greetings. The problem of party color persuasion is a problem that is generated by both political leaderships of the divided parties. That problem that occurred yesterday must be addressed by the leadership condemning the unacceptable vulgar behavior of the person in question. Also, I believe Dervan, to address the party politics of colorism must be a part of the social education in schools in respect to conflict resolution issues. Ms. Ogilvy says, I'm hoping that there will be an agreement for vehicles to be imported from North America duty-free. The duty that I paid 2 years ago could buy me another car, says Ms. Ogilvy. Patrick Howell says, Dervan, this duty-free trading agreement of cars by the EU is nothing more than dumping these vehicles to make space for electric vehicles. There must be a catch. I am sure this deal doesn't have electric. Where did that go? Let me see. Where's the rest of the message? Doesn't have electric. He says that's where he left it. And Taki Lemqua says, Happy Teachers' Day to all, including myself. I used to be part of that fraternity here in the US. Bless. Patrick Howell says, the parts for European Union vehicles are so expensive and very few auto parts places in Jamaica stock parts for EU vehicles. Let us try and get a duty-free arrangement for Japanese vehicles. And then Patrick says, you can count on your hands the number of EU vehicles in Jamaica. Very few people are buying EU vehicles. So they want to dump these on Jamaica and the Caribbean. KMT, Kiss Mateet. Asha Ash says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. Just tuning in from London, England. Welcome, Asha Ash. Taki Lemqua says, I strongly believe that environmental protection that includes both plants and animals' lives must be wholesomely aligned with public health as an extension of the health sector. And the psychology behind such is to step up the awareness and appreciation that the environment is a symbolic necessity in relation to our own health. What do you think, Dervan, having such in the social programs in school? Why not? Why not? Patrick Howell says, I hope that Jamaica allows these EU vehicles to stay there in the European Union. Well, the artificial intelligence bot, B-O-T, has popped up on our system here and telling us that there are several differences between European and American vehicles. According to an article on hotcars.com, American cars have better quality for low to mid-range priced vehicles, while European cars get the nod when it comes to the higher priced machines. They use better materials, have better suspension systems, and use only top-of-the-line material for the interiors of the more expensive cars. According to another article on itstillruns.com, European cars are designed to last longer and get more miles to the gallon. They can't hold as many people as an American car, but in general, You can get many more years of service from a European car than an American car. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any other questions, says the robot, the artificially intelligent robot on our device right now. Let's move on. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon to Jacqueline Simmons. Thank you very much for making it Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. Hubert Fowlin says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan Malcolm, Power 106 FM, and your listening audience. Thank you, Hubert Fowlin. Michael from Belle Plaine in Clarendon says, good afternoon, teacher, to you and your listeners. Happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers around the globe. Keep safe, teacher. Errol says, Dervan, you're a teacher. It's not your birthday, but happy teaching day, sir. You're very kind, Errol. Thank you very much. Steve in Toronto, Canada says it was 100 deaths per month up to the beginning of May in reference to Jamaica's murder rate. And he reiterates information that is out in the public domain already, 400 deaths at the end of April. Then he says, yes, we have to pay full price when we go to Dunn's River. And so what about this business of showing your ID, Steve? I know that much. I've traveled with visitors, Jamaicans from overseas, and the practice is that there is, once you can demonstrate that you are indeed Jamaican, that there is some special rate for Jamaicans. Thank you very much for your messages. Let's continue with more on your program. Karen Rowe says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Happy Teachers' Day to all educators. We join you in conveying those sentiments. Karen Rowe. Dwight Spence says, bless up to all and our teachers especially. Cherry Henry says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and listeners. Happy Teachers' Day to you and all the wonderful teachers in Jamaica. And Patrick says, all right, I think we read his last message already. So let's move on to the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Let's see who is hitting us up. This one says, the caller who called and told you that he was testing the traffic system is a confused person. This man is a regular caller on Dear Pastor, Dumas, and confused the poor pastor by telling him about the blue banana, and now he is confusing you about digging trenches around Riverton City Dump. We knew exactly who we were speaking with. That's very, very, very easy to discern. There's no hiding there. We know when he calls, and we are aware. We have met him before, actually. We met him in Montego Bay a couple of years ago, and we know who he is. Let's just leave it at that. This one says, this one from Howie saying, good afternoon, teacher. Happy Teachers' Day. Among some of us, the police can't win. Man lucky and blame the police and claim he didn't break the law. Yet some people are stopped twice in a day and complain against that. Rock and hard place, says Howie. And this one says, oh, this is somebody promoting Mother's Day. Get ready for Mother's Day edition of Super Sessions. All right. Hope it goes well. Cuban in Georgia has a lot to say. A lot to say. We'll see how much of it we'll be able to get through when we come back after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
350. Looking to take your agricultural business to the next level? New growth opportunities are here with the Development Bank of Jamaica. Small farmers, agri-processors, and all MSMEs in the agriculture sector can access up to $30 million in loans. Visit us at
Afternoon.
www.dbankjm.com or send us a WhatsApp text message at 876-371-3830 to find out about our agri-based loans. Conditions apply.
Tell a farmer, tell a friend, the BBJ have something there. All right, we are trying to build back better. Little boys, little girls, oh,
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Since we were reading a few messages before the break, let's take a call in this segment. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Governor of the Diaspora.
You're too kind.
How are you?
I'm giving thanks for life. And you?
I'm not good. I'm good. I'm not doing it. It's something that you've heard. And if you heard it, quite quiet.
Okay, sir.
I want to do an also diaspora today. I was on.
I wonder if you could control your voice and the instrument in such a way that we get a more pointed sound as opposed to one that is a little windy.
I hope sometime I will.
That's much better. If you can keep it at the level just now, that would be good.
Yeah, I was looking at the news about 2 nights ago, and I wonder the people they interview on your investigation about people who going to Honduras and trying to get to the border of Mexico. And my friends from abroad in the diaspora were telling me how dangerous a thing it was. And last night I was on a program on your sister's station 94. And people were saying, and I was talking to the horse, how would one take up themselves, take up all those money, pay it, and the danger that exists in that journey, women with their children, and only to hear today that a man has died and he's a Jamaican. He's identified as a Jamaican. Just like my friends in the diaspora are telling me that it's so dangerous that they don't know how come Jamaica taking the chances.
Yes. Well, we got wind of what was happening months ago. We got information from very good sources of sections of the country where people essentially just left their places of abode and packed up and take whatever they could and were making their way across the Mexican-American border. So, and quite a few of them got through. And so it's a situation where if others were able to get through, then so can I. That's the kind of mindset, apparently. But as everyone knows, it's a dangerous, potentially deadly crossing.
But then if you have so much money, you must can find something in Jamaica to do to enhance the life. Because it's not penny if you need to do that,
Yes.
It's not just like a airfare and return,
Yeah, it just demonstrates the how far some of our people are prepared to go to achieve whatever ends they set out to achieve.
I'm thinking it. I just can't. There's something that can bug my mind now, but I can't bug my mind about this one governor.
Well, there's a feeling that once they land on American soil, once they get onto American soil, that all else will be added on to them. That's another part of it, because they'll find a job somewhere and just start working in America. And before you know it, they have a green card. And before you know it, they're applying for citizenship. and they'll be fine.
And it's not like that.
No, it's not. It's not
Not
like that.
like that.
No.
And sometimes this job you pick up, it comes with so much constraint because when they know you don't have a
That's right. And what eventually happens is that it becomes another case of human trafficking.
and exploitation.
That's what human trafficking is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, I wonder when I wanted to call you and reading there.
Yesterday.
You still go around reading?
Oh, you mean
You don't have any time for it.
when you say go around reading? What do you mean?
When I was at school board chairman,
Uh-huh.
I used to read three school when read at three school.
Oh yeah, well I don't know. Nobody has called me in the last few years. I guess COVID interrupted that, because normally I would get a call every year to say, "Can you read for us at this school or that school, etc." And I would gladly respond. So I'm not sure on what basis these days certain people like us are invited to read.
Let I happy teachers say to all the teachers, because I when I have been at school board chairman for 18 years, and I put in a lot of work. And because I think that one of the ways that it is going to get Jamaica going and going, and our standards of living to live is through education. And I think that thought will accompany to my grave, because I know, and I just don't see people take the interest of time they should take in the education of themselves and their children, because education is a constant problem. It's not something you can stop and go.
Yeah.
I used to deal with these things, and I used to enjoy it. I don't care how much money I could work for here. I'm going to take that day for going to choose school. Doing some reading, sometimes helping with lunch and have a good day for these people. Because as one of your writers, how can a country people have just so much money and can't get people? And the judge is the creation of a teacher.
Yeah, well, there are some fundamental disparities in our society which are long-standing and cannot and perhaps will not be recalibrated in our time. But the hope is that we'll have more smart Jamaicans who will be able to smartly identify some of these disparities and help us to recalibrate. Other than that, it will just be the same old story.
And then the health system is falling apart. Look what's happening at the health, the hospital, and how can a child take up how can somebody rescue a child and take him to the hospital that they belong, and you tell him take him to children hospital. And yet still they have our health minister, the brightest and the best performance minister. Something is fundamentally wrong. You have a good day, my brother.
Thank you very much for the call. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello? Are you there?
Good afternoon, Professor Malcolm.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm all right, Professor. And you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
I find you a very versatile person in your speech. Do you think you could read the 5 o'clock news, RGR news in Spanish?
Why not? But Power 106 FM used to be that station, We used to have Nicola Kristovich, who would read the news in Spanish, French, and English. That used to happen on Power 106. And go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Prophet.
Yes, and that was one of the things that Power 106 was known for.
Yeah. You know, there's going to be a time to come when you're going to have to read the news in Spanish and French again.
Well, if it comes to that, why not? We do what we have to do.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Now, Mr. Malcolm, I want to do some maths with you today.
Mathematics.
Yes, I put you in a maths class. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Thanks on their behalf. Good afternoon.
Last year is only 35 out of every 100 person who took mathematics in the Caribbean passed the exam.
35 out of every 100.
Yeah, that's what the CSEC data bank showing.
Oh, wow.
And maths continue to be one of the most feared subjects among the Jamaican students.
I've asked the question of so many people over these 30 years, quite frankly. I've gotten many answers, but I'm still, I think there are those who argue that it has to do with our reasoning ability, in which a lot of our people are woefully lacking.
Let me tell you the area of mathematics that is affecting the Jamaican people. Algebra. If you tell a Jamaican say 2 plus 2, he'll tell you 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell him 2A plus 2B,
Mm-hmm.
you start wonder what you're telling him.
Yes.
And they don't understand, most of the Jamaicans don't want to think or reason out anything. But I'm telling you as my brother professor, that a nation who cannot do mathematics is doomed to failure. And any relationship, any household in Jamaica where you do have an analytical or a mathematical mind, somebody in there to do the calculation for the household, those relationships will crumble in the new world order.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you why I tell you that. There was a just contrasting something in Jamaica. There was a robbery in Arthur today.
Oh, so I heard.
Yeah, some men dress up like security guards and go rob a jewelry store in Pavilion Mall.
Was there another one? Because I'm sure I heard. Wasn't there one? I need to check because I'm sure I'd heard that there was a weekend robbery.
Robbery all over the place.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so they robbed the jewelry store and them gone. The thousands of jewelry and the store locked down.
Uh-oh.
And at the same news, when the reporter reported that news,
yes,
the next line of the news is telling you that the high court judges, the circuit court judges, their salary is now $28 million a year.
Yes.
Now you tell me, Mr. Malcolm, when you're looking at our court system, I don't trust nobody for them pay, you know. Because we can live off of anything and live,
but then it becomes an issue now of what are our benchmarks? What are the existing standards? How are we arriving at these figures of emoluments?
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Why we having years robbing and thieving and killing people, creating work for judges, poor people, picking as them call them, criminal as the Prime Minister call them, and the church calling them sinners, and now I hear an ex-politician calling them dregs. While these criminals and these sinners and these dregs, according to the political and the religious hierarchy, creating work for the judges, the government giving the judges $2.3 million every month to try these cases. If we didn't know mathematics and know the same money the whole way are complete for, we would have a peaceful society so that these judges and the normal man could have more equity in this space. Don't you think so, Mr. Malcolm?
Chances are, yes.
Yeah, because all the government is doing using a mechanism.
Hold on. Tell us more in a moment.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30.
Hey, what happened to all those goods you were trying to export the other day?
Oh, one phone call to my Spanish contact in Venezuela and he took the whole lot.
To Venezuela? But you don't speak Spanish.
Not me, man. The Language Training Center Limited. They do all my foreign language transactions.
You know, I have a reggae contact in Japan, but I don't speak Japanese.
Then go to the Language Training Center Limited, 31 Halfway Tree Road, 9262756 or 9260375. The Language Training Center for all your language needs.
Parents, students, teachers, Paper and Things provides more than just great service. We are your source for a variety of printing, stationery, and binding supplies. We provide assistance for school assignments and projects. There are stickers, foam balls, cardboards, paints, Play-Doh, construction paper, teaching charts, and more. Paper and Things, a subsidiary of Speedy Prints, located at 20 Market Street, Montego Bay. Open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Telephone 940-1491.
Both sides of the story.
Do you have a title for your land? Are you thinking about buying or selling land? How much is your property worth? Tune in to Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for The NLA and You, a program that examines the National Land Agency's role in building an efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's The NLA and You on Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Mr. Malcolm, so why poor people pick me doing all of these skullduggery and creating work for these millionaire judges? I want to remind them that these judges, their pension is their pay until them dead, you know. What the government is not doing and the opposition is not doing is to educate the African people to create an economy for themselves. And I believe it is the duty of the Ministry of Finance to educate the black people, especially about economics and the fundamental of creating a peaceful economy so that everybody can be equal to the sense that a judge couldn't be getting 2.3 million a month out of the same GCT money and the minimum wage getting 13,000 a week, which is 52,000 a month. How we arrive at those inequities, Mr. Malcolm?
Well, again, as we said, we perhaps what would help us to better understand the why these numbers, these figures are the way they are, would be an outline of the basis on which these figures are arrived at. How? Yes, go ahead.
And the growth in the economy that substantiate the work that these judges doing to get that emolument. Because what they do, when you go down places like Maxfield Avenue and Waltham and Spanish Town Road, a lot of the small businesses down there cannot stand up to the minimum wage that is coming the 1st of June. You know. They're laying off workers. And it is these same communities that is creating cases on the circuit court. So how the government that give the judge them so much money? To do what? The government of Jamaica is a failure to the Jamaican people, you know. I'm not afraid to talk, you know. Mr. Malcolm, there's some math formula that teaches in the school, okay? One of them named Pythagoras theorem. It tells you that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. You see how that formula? If we apply that formula in Portmore, where they're fighting over that rubbish heap constituency, because be a rubbish heap around the place, you know, Waterford, Edgewater, and all of these things that the two of them burning down Portmore for, a rubbish heap. All of the gully them want clean. If the people of Portmore come together fundamentally and share time and skill, voluntary work could be done to clean up that constituency and run these politicians out of Portmore, you know. Because all them looking is pension for themselves, you know. A medical doctor leaving his office to fight over a rubbish heap constituency, and so is a lawyer. I love them, love money. That. What them can do for Portmore people? Which book them read that Portmore that me not read? Look at all me. Which book them read that never not read? Which much them can do that never can do? All them doing is just taking the people apart to themselves, dividing the community and creating name in the community while them enclosing themselves. Hello, Mr. Malcolm.
Still here.
You see the counselor, the deputy mayor over there, named Alric. He should be ashamed of himself, you know. Him, Alric. Portmore for 15 years a councillor. Portmore should never look, sir. The parish council of Portmore with Mr. Leon Thomas, I don't know, the mayor. You should see all of them and their councillors walking Portmore even 2 times a month, notifying people in the various households to clean up them gates, clean up them surrounding and the small businesses like all the
what a day in Jamaica if you have to tell people to clean up their gate. That's not the culture I grew up in. It's a culture that says you get up in the morning, you say your prayers, you spread your bed, you sweep out your room, possibly the entire house, depending on what's happening. You sweep up your yard. I mean, this is how I was brought up. Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Yeah, I saw me go too. If you come over Portmore in the constituency that they're fighting for, the amount of street garage that is over there now, seeing up the place every day. And the whole of them are friends that collect money on that table.
So it's a failure to enforce the what they call them, the covenants, a failure to enforce the laws.
Yeah, it's not a failure in my part, you know, Mr. Malcolm, it's not a failure. It's a down tier and selfishness.
Yeah, but there must be consequences for that because there are implications for the rest of us.
Exactly. And we have to sending the children to school to learn these mathematics. And we're not using them in the communities, Mr. Malcolm, because of religion and politics and selfishness.
It sounds like our methodology is fundamentally flawed then, the methodology of teaching mathematics.
Yes, Mr. Malcolm. They give SPAs in school-based assessment. But when they give these school-based assessments, they don't send the children into the areas to look at the community and create an SBA to match it to solve the problem. They just do it hypothetically, take it out, they use their imagination, and there is no reflection of the maths on the ground. You have another math formula named linear programming, it's algebra. We will teach you how to solve inequity, like these inequities that we have here now, Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
You know, linear programming, you can use time banking and solve problems. But because look at you now, I never see you yet. I spent only on TV and YouTube. And look how much thing you teach me that me put in my life, and me I get better results. Look at Ralston, man. Look how much thing him teach me. Ralston is the first man we say, level, take your qualification to the next level. And look how me take it to the next level, and look how it make me sleep better when night comes. Voluntary work, Mr. Malcolm. It's a voluntary work and teamwork. Nothing beat that, you know. Yes. But the politicians cannot afford for the Jamaican people work as a team because that will affect their pension. And the church cannot afford the Jamaican people to work as a team because that will affect their coming of Christ. The whole thing is a trick amongst the Jamaican people. They're using us as their ATM.
Well, we need to be smart then by recognizing what is at play and act accordingly.
If Marcus to all some of them and say, come and work as a team of 5 and start sweep up Independence City every morning. They must say you're mad. They must say you're mad, you know. But if them say, Mr. Terry Long walk through the community, you see how much of them they are line up behind him because them can't get money. Them can get some free money up by office. All them things that them are going with over there, you know.
Which wouldn't be new, sadly. That's been...
And if we go talk and say, you know, say, these politicians is no good to Independence City. You're a man from the corner. I'm a running him out from the MP. And to the tall marker boy, they want running him out from the MP.
Yeah, they have to protect their food.
Their food.
Mm-hmm.
At the expense of who? The next generation.
Who allow themselves to be at the mercy of that expense.
Because Mr. Malcolm, you can't tell me that you paying a police commissioner 1.5 million every month. You're paying a judge now $2.3 million every month. And you're paying a minister of national security till him dead. Nearly $8 million a month, $8 million a year till him dead. I hope that figure, somebody can correct me. And Jamaica Station. If you, Dervan Malcolm, I hope I'm not being presumptuous. If they want to give you $2 million a month for 2 years, the amount of change up where you change up this country, I'm under the market. I'm a good day, Mr. Malcolm.
Thanks for the call. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Here's Rohan Johnson of Atlas in Ocho Rios, St. John. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to all the listeners. I just want to take the opportunity to send out Happy Teachers Day to my brother Marlon Johnson, teacher at the Brownstone High School in St. Anne. And also all the teachers at Griffith Basic School in Extreme St. Anne. That's where my daughter goes. Miss Walker is our teacher. And I wish her all the best on this Teachers Day. She's just touched my life, my daughter's life in so many ways. And I want to thank her for it. And not only her, but other teachers who teach at the school.
Well, we join you in conveying Teachers Day greetings on this Teachers Day. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I want to big up to you too. I've learned a lot from you. Even though I don't know if you're a teacher by professional, but I learned a lot from you also. But sorry I can't say Happy Teachers Day to you.
Well,
Mr. Malcolm, and all the best to you going forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Here are some more messages. Dwight Spence says, Sir Dervan, I am inviting you to my school, Jonestown Primary, next year, God's will. I will be happy to oblige. Dwight Spence. He says, nation without vision. Math is good, but not all. But not all. But kinda get this point. Well, I'm not sure we have gotten it, but we hear what you're saying. Thank you, Dwight Spence, for your message. As we continue to take your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson. She says, Happy Teachers Day to all dedicated teachers all over the world. And Jeannie Chambers says, good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon to you too. Cuban in Georgia, as we have been telling you, has a lot to say. He says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Happy International Teachers Day to my former principal, Palmer, and wife and children of my primary school, the Ken Wright Primary School in Port Antonio. Thanks, Mr. Palmer and family. I appreciate you and celebrate your work on this Teachers' Day today. Thanks once again to all my teachers at Port Antonio Primary School. Sir Malcolm, we have many problems in Jamaica. Well, we'll come back to the rest of this message from Cuban in Georgia after the break.
For any project, ABC Electrical Sales has all your electrical supplies at the best prices. 8 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 754-3714. The time by ABC Electrical Sales is
3:45.
So Cuban in Georgia says, Sir Malcolm, we have many problems. We have many problems in Jamaica to fix. So how can we fix this and getting our people to work together and stop this bickering amongst each other? Sir Malcolm, what is happening with the Windrush generation in London, and what is the Minister of Foreign Affairs doing to help those Jamaicans who have been affected by this tragedy and terrible wrong that was done by the Home Office towards Jamaicans? Please. Well, the Jamaicans in the UK have been involved not just at the receiving end, but they are at the table where these discussions are being held. Some well-placed Jamaicans who will not allow any wishy-washy response to the needs arising from the Windrush saga, or some call it a scandal. But we're supposed to hear more. This is the 75th anniversary of the Windrush. So let's keep listening and let's see what happens. Because as we said, Jamaicans are involved. This one says, Kaiser Bauxite Company mined bauxite in St. Elizabeth up to 1969. This is from Jeremy in Black River. This is a message from yesterday. We're just going through quite quickly to identify those messages that are current, as in being up to date. And this one, all right, this one looks to be, the Media Association should demand a public apology from the PNP. And, you know, we can't say what else you have here because we are not in a position so to do. But thank you for your message. Joan in Bermuda says, good day, Sir D. Current situation here. Earthquake detected 83 kilometers southeast of Bermuda. A 4.3 magnitude earthquake. Just waiting on the rest of this page to populate. But this is from the Royal Gazette in Bermuda. So we trust the rattle wasn't too much, or the whatever effects have been detected from this earthquake. Please continue to be safe in Bermuda. Richard has sent us a message. Oh no, this was from earlier, so that was for Simon actually. So let's move on as we try to clear. James in East London, the usual collection of stories out of the UK. Thanks, James. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Wednesday to you and your listeners. I love the song you played at the start of your program. I just want to use this medium to wish for all teachers a happy Teachers' Day. Just to mention a few schools: Mount Angus Primary and Junior High School, Hunstown Basic School, Derry Primary School, and Mount Angus Basic School. Enjoy your day, guys. From Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. And Rohan is also writing Teachers' Day greetings. Happy Teachers' Day to my brother Marlon Johnson, who teaches at Brownstown High School in St. Anne, coming from Rohan Johnson of Atlas Ocho Rios. And this one says, Happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers, especially you, bro. Big up yourself. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Same to you. And this one says, Teacher, ask Neville to repeat the quiz. Maths. Think of a number, please. And someone else here now has a lot to say. Where do we start? Let's see. This person says, the caller who called and told you that he was testing the traffic system. Oh, no, we read that one already. Let's come down to the other thread of messages. Sir Malcolm, the Minister of Finance, Nigel Clark, is on an election campaign. Well, whenever has it been? When has it been that a politician has never been on an election campaign? Politicians know the implications of their words and deeds, and they're going to use whatever tools are at their disposal to carry out their plans. So that's not a surprise there. When he gave the judges such a handsome pay package and gave the workers in public sector such low pay packages, he pegged the emoluments of the judges to the Caribbean while that of public sector to their last salary agreement. And then he goes on, well, this person goes on to say, Neville is wrong about the maths SBA selection. The SBA is selected from issues in society and to collect their data, present, analyze, discuss, and conclude. Topic, compare hire purchase agreements on goods between courts and a singer. There are so many other related topics. We'll send more. Thank you very much for your messages here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And let's see. I think we have cleared most of the messages. Let's just check the text line for a while. Usually pure promotional material on the text line. People advertising all kinds of things. Let's hop over those and go to this one. Good morning. Well, this isn't addressed to anybody in particular. It's a wide open message. Good morning. The response to threat of rape drew irate response, so well deserved. However, what about threat of violence made by, and this person has listed a couple of names and making a couple of allegations, which means we're just going to have to jump over that because we have no data to substantiate any of that, and that matter is best dealt with within the realms of the law. So that's what we'll say to that. And this one says, Sir Malcolm, do our World War I and II soldiers get compensation from England for their role in these wars? If yes, what? And if no, why? Well, they're usually taken care of in relative terms. There are different programs, and on special occasions, they are feted and celebrated. That's as much as we are aware of. Thank you very much for your message. As we continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. All right. Same problem as yesterday, Sean. Sorry. Same problem as yesterday. We're not hearing you clearly at all. So you can feel free to try again. Let's go to the phone lines. 876-922-4112 to 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
How are you, Malcolm?
I am fine. Thanks, Mr. Francis. And you?
Boy, I was about 2 hours. I think my phone is about $3,000.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, well, you're getting a little more technical. But I mean, I'm not killing you. Oh, we're doing today.
Can't complain. We're still breathing. We're giving thanks.
Yes, yes. This song that you hear, Little Boy, Little Girls, that you sing on the radio. It's a wonderful thing that could be used in the school in the morning for devotion, you know.
Yes, it's quite catchy and to the point.
It's to the point, and I mean, we are the other one at the promise to send you home. Do you see the blacksmith living in the street? Do you see making shoes out the street? And every armor blow on the ring, and every armor blow on the ring. Do you see the blacksmith living down the street? Do you hear making shoes out the street? And every armor blow on the ring, and every armor with a clean country. Now, this is what I learned in school, those sort of morning devotion. And I think they could look at this and look at yours and bring them back into school in the morning to give the children some energy because, you know, these songs do bring energy to children. You know, children can get appetite for songs and they can take a deep breath and start the morning with hope, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was going to school, there was a that Richard never loses about it is the better of England. You know, when you little do come in the morning, live the dead of England, to noble kind and true.
Rolling back the years.
But we used to look for those songs in the morning when the teacher would line you up and it was wonderful, you know. So your song there, Little Boy, Little Girls, and do you see the blacksmith living down the street? These are quite interesting songs of devotion. And the school in general, I mean, a lot of devotional songs, we are not hearing them. You understand? And we ask the Ministry of Education to get up and not only talk about money, but talk about a lot of these things for the children, you know. And anyway, I don't want to be long with you because I'm very busy. The judges get a little bit too much money, and the postal agents they don't get any money because 3 postal agents they called me this morning. They work 3 days a week in some postal agents. And so when the month ends come, they get $8,125 for the month. Now, only you would have to calculate at what rate this 3 days a week was calculated. Because if you go to work every 3 days a week, 5 hours a day, and when the period comes, you give him $8,125. And I'm serious about it because I have these names can't send to you. I can't send them to you by envelope. You know, so when you give a judge so much money, because the postal agents will come under the postmaster general, he pays them, and I've discussed this with you before. We are now looking. The postmaster general trying to get a meeting with me for next week, Monday, to look at the postal agents and think with a view to look at that to take it to the Ministry of Finance, who's waiting to have a talk with us. But when you have a big reach, bill go through like this, you know, what happened the other day, and there was no fine point in gathering the categories, you know, those on the bottom. A lot of categories are down the bottom right now, that's big, you know, already get 9% wages. So I'm deeply distressed about the thing, and I hope that for the postal agents coming up, we might have a solution. I talked to a woman this morning who told me she worked in the postal agents for 41 years. Came and asked me, And the place was closed down on her.
One moment, please.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Under the law. Know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. Under the law.
Brought to you today by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Whether you're a smart farmer, street vendor, big investor, every entrepreneur, got to wise up about your money. You have to make sure say your money secure. When you need to grow, you have access to more.
Financial inclusion means that individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs.
Access to more money, more credit, whatever your business needs. When you work hard for your money must work for you.
Mr. Wilson, I hope you don't mind if I ask why you're opening this account today?
My son in the States sent me some money to save towards my retirement. He suggested I open the account.
Okay. Right. Your documents are in order. Have you looked over the document I gave you?
I've been reading it. Most of it I understand. There are some technical words that confuse me a little.
The page at the back explains some of the technical terms which you might not be too familiar with. Anything you don't understand, I can explain it to you.
The type of account, the interest I will get on my money, the minimum balance, and the monthly charges. Those are clear to me, but what do you mean by maintenance costs?
Those are the costs we charge to maintain the account. See this clause here? That is how much we will charge.
Oh, okay. And how will I get my statements?
Online when you log into your account. Every month, we will have your updated monthly statement that shows all your transactions. But you have to keep your password safe. Don't share it with anyone. And only use this website to log into your account. It is our secure platform. Always check the website before you put in your information. And remember what we say here in the contract. We will also send you email alerts if we see any suspicious activity in your account.
Good. And I sign here?
Right.
When someone is opening an account with a deposit-taking institution, such as your bank, the deposit-taking institution shall ensure that the terms and conditions pertaining to the matters are disclosed in clear language, and where the use of technical jargon is unavoidable, be accompanied by an explanation in simple language and in a manner that is not false or misleading. In accordance with the Banking Services Deposit-Taking Institution's Customer-Related Matters Code of Conduct, the deposit-taking institution must ensure that key terms for deposit and loan products are clearly identified or highlighted for the customer's attention. That's how it is under the law.
Brought to you today by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Join us Wednesdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 at 9:55 p.m. on Power 106 FM for Under the Law.
The following is an excerpt from the sectoral presentation of the Minister of Justice, the Honorable Delroy Chuck.
Madam Speaker, turn to social justice. During my presentation last year, Madam Speaker, I spoke about the launch of the Ministry's public education campaign to increase awareness and the use of our social justice services. We have reached and assisted thousands of Jamaicans to access our free services, ensuring that our citizens see alternatives to justice services as methods as the primary means to resolve disputes, avoid conflicts, and settle contentious matters that affect their daily lives. Madam Speaker, the Minister of Justice is convinced that many abuses, violent crimes, and gruesome murders can be avoided if people use our justice services before acting hastily or in an irresponsible manner, which oftentimes leads to death and regret. our people need to use these services. Madam Speaker, it is primarily for these reasons that the Ministry of Justice is promoting justice for peace and harmony. We strongly believe that if the disputing parties visit one of our 20 restorative justice centers or seek mediation, many personal conflicts and disappointments can be avoided. Only last year, Madam Speaker, we opened 2 new restorative justice centers, one in my good friend Southwest constituency at Greenwich Farm, and one in my colleague in Northwest St. Andrew. And these have started to do some good work. And believe me, Madam Speaker, we want to open more. And we will open at least another 2 during the course of this year. Madam Speaker, we are vigorously promoting the sympathy. Talk it out, not fight it out. In schools and communities, we have been urging everyone to avoid fights and other conflicts as a way of settling disputes and prevent unpredictable and deadly outcomes. I am pleased, Madam Speaker, to share that in the 2022-23 financial year, the Ministry of Justice, with the assistance of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, operationalized the Social Justice Division. This minister allowed the restorative justice, child diversion, victim services, and mediation to be under one umbrella, thereby allowing for greater oversight of the programs, better coordination, and an overall increase in the efficiency of the services being delivered. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Justice is committed to ensuring that all our citizens, from whatever socioeconomic background, educational level, race, age, or gender, have access to and participate in the justice process as we continue promoting justice for peace and harmony. Indeed, Madam Speaker, we have a toll-free line which can easily accessed. All a person who needs assistance, legal advice, direction to a justice service, they just need to call 1-888 Justice, 888-587-8423, 888 Justice, and the operator will give them information. If they need legal advice, a number will be given for them to call the legal counsel. The legal counsel will put an attorney onto the person to give legal advice, preliminary advice, not representing the person, but at least to say where you can find a lawyer, which lawyer is in your particular district or in the town, and also to give them information as to how they can get further legal advice. But if it is a person who needs a justice service, the operator will direct them to a justice service. So the point, Madam Speaker, is no Jamaican citizen should feel that they can't get justice. They have easy access by calling 888 Justice and get direction as to how they can access justice services.
The proceeding was an excerpt from the sectoral presentation of the Minister of Justice, the Honorable Delroy Chuck.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:09. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 4:09. 现在地点了10:02分. 9 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yes. Well, you bring on the minute, stopping on me again. I hope link with some more phone bill.
No, those are programs we don't have any control over.
Sir, I know it's not easy because you are looking at dozens of things in front of you. Your finger is like a magnet. So I understand. I was just saying that the distribution of increasing wages, it is not spread across evenly at all because these postal agents, the postal agent, let me tell you something, it was not created to make money. It was created to create a service for the handicapped and the aged. You know, I went up on my house this morning to pick some of my little mangoes, which I know you would like to have some now with this time. And when I was coming down that step, and when I come down into the living room here, I have one hell to get myself back in shape because I'm not young, and so I'm only showing a difficulty when I'm old person. I will leave when you close on a postal agency, like the one in Canada, Spain. And that old person I will leave to go Spanish Town, have a go on a bus and take, where there is no postal agent. It was shortly on two postal agencies now gone down to 170 because they're not paying the fees anymore. And I'm asking you to tell me, a woman who works 3 days a week, 5 hours a day, and get a pay at the end of the month of $8,125. What sort of calculation, how much hours a week she work? I haven't called in a day's work a year sometime, and I have to make sure I have the photo, I have to give my day's work at plus lunch. You know, so I'm saying that there's a move up to the Postmaster General sitting up a meeting with me for Monday week. And the Minister of Finance asked me to write them a letter that they could look at the whole thing. But there's a lot of people out there who the Minister of Finance does not give us a letter. I mean, these are people who are down in the drain. And these women told me in their call this morning that they have to pay rent wherever they are out of the money. So I don't know what sort of thing this, that was a reason dish down and give to them. Right? You know, the Postmaster General agreed things, and these are the instructions coming from the Postmaster General in the past right now. You know, so the postal agents are subject to the instruction of the Postmaster General. You have to make up his money at month end time and calculate regionally the different parishes. They are giving instruction what to do and what not to do. And they don't give them no money, and all these increases they are run. The postal agents who work beside the postal clerk who work beside the postal agent, two ladies, one get benefit and one don't get none doing the similar work. And they closing with you here. The ILO convention and ratification says that where a body of work or do similar work, the remuneration should be similar. So we're hoping that coming out of the Postmaster General meeting and the Minister of Finance trying to sit up with me, we can find a way to get the postal agents over there. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call. Hope it works out. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Last week I heard Michael was talking to you.
I'm sorry, are we on speaker?
No, sir.
The line sounds wide open.
Last week I heard Michael talking to you about the coffee thing and they're not getting enough money. But all farmers are the lowest paid. They are the bottom of the barrel with the product. Doesn't matter what product you have. And the question is, how much would it cost for the company to process the coffee to make this to get it to sell? So that's something one has to look at. And we agree that, they should get more money. I don't have a problem with that, but it's about how the food line is set up. And it doesn't matter how much you want. I don't know if the system will dictate and you can get what you want. And those who are negotiating on behalf of the coffee farmers, they have to really
the answer these guys and saying, well, this is how we can go and this is the way it goes. But what I'm looking for is the byproducts coming from the coffee.
One moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
both sides of the story.
Come see the Jamaica Constabulary Force in a way you've never seen before at the JCF Transformations Expo, Thursday, May 11 to Sunday, May 14 at the National Arena in Kingston. The event will showcase exciting, cutting-edge, technology-driven exhibits and booths and demonstrate how investments in technological resources have manifested into greater levels of service to the public. Dervan Malcolm gets in the mix with a live broadcast of both sides of the story from the Transformations Expo. This broadcast is brought to you by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, a force for good. That's both sides of the story, live from the JCF Transformations Expo at the National Arena, this Friday, May 12 from 2 to 5 p.m., only on Power 106 FM. Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness. Your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-41125 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM.
Before you grow old, learning is better than silver or gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but our good education will never be dead.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:17. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:17. 现在几点了？4点17分. 17 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Yes, sir. So I'm looking for the coffee board to put things in place. Like, we used to have the coffee in Malta, which I enjoyed. I haven't seen that no more anymore. We can make coffee liqueur. I do pastry. I do several pastries in the hotel with coffee. So why can't we see a coffee cookbook? I enjoy my brown sugar chicken with a little coffee in it. My pot roast beef with a little bit of coffee in it. So we have to think out of the box.
Well, why is there a box in the first place?
That's the question.
Get rid of the box.
Yes, it makes sense to get rid of the box. So we have to think creatively, and put things in place.
Yes.
And one other thing I always tell people, the Japanese don't have better brain than us. Neither the Americans nor the British. We have to utilize what God blessed us with.
Amen.
Thinking that we're third world. I don't like that saying we are third world country. So don't expect much. I said, no, we have to lift our mind beyond that. Because I remember when I was working on the cruise ship, and when we have people from all over the world, different nationalities. At one time we had 60 different nationalities on the ship I worked on.
And when a lot of them see me doing things, they ask me to teach them that I'm from a third world country. So I don't set my mind in that third world mentality. I move above that, you know. So we have to think beyond those things that we think can make us handicapped. Move forward, you know.
That's a term that is no longer used in the lexicon.
I agree, sir.
Yes.
And my other point I want to take up with that. I Saturday, I traveled from Port Antonio right back to a place and reached past to Manchester and leaving Midway, Boston. The road is pretty good, go right back into that area. There's a few bad spots, but not much to write about, you know. And I just don't understand why the contractors go for the stereo leg, like that go into rivers, into valley. Drag their feet. I think they're no longer to get somebody new to do it. And I listen to people on the ground, talking to people. The protests we have 2 months in a row, they were political mostly, and I am non-political. I don't take sides, you know. I speak the difference where it is, you know. And when a person is wrong, they're wrong for me. And I have seen where the MP doesn't really show much care to the constituencies. So therefore, people become frustrated, you know. And when things are happening and people don't see nothing going on, they're going to keep wondering and they're going to blame them. Now, there's a place called where the Blue Lagoon is. That road is so narrow, and I'm wondering because they were cutting parts of the road, but they narrow back up the road. You know, so I don't understand why the Central Avenue was so narrow. And the first place it was, so we're expecting to see a broader road, and it's not like that. And people are frustrated with certain working conditions that the people leave for the drivers. So if that other side could get this thing out and get it done, why this side can't get it done?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and one of the things that a lot of people will say that why did they give it to Jamaican? They were mad when the Jamaicans get that side of the contract. They rather the Chinese have it. And it is very unfortunate to see where people rather to foreigner get the work than they want Jamaican. It's the same that our Jamaicans are sure that patriotic responsibility that they should. You should take pride in your country that I want my country to be the best it can.
Yes.
But our mentality needs to change and change in a positive way.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do, and we've been saying this for the longest time. It's serious business. Whole lot of work to do. But one day at a time.
The other day I said I finished the pictures, man. I didn't know if you look at it. So my
Oh, yes, I saw the pictures. Yes. But when you do those things, you only make me hungry, man.
You gotta come back to OT, man.
One of these days.
Yes. Mr. Malcolm, all the best, sir.
And the same to you.
Right.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Cleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Keep the messages coming. Let's see what we have here. Siobhan Anderson says, Happy Teacher's Day to you, Mr. Malcolm. You're appreciated. Thank you, Siobhan. Taki Lemkwa says, yes, mathematics is invaluable, a part of our being, and universally everything in view and around us. And Taki Lemkwa also says, agreeing with Neville Carter's points with regard to how the appreciation of the subject must be taught to our children in relation to their circumstances of everyday living or life in general. It's all about helping our children to make the connections, to connect the dots. The better we're able to do that, the more lasting and impactful the outcome. Helping our children to connect the dots makes a huge difference. All right, speaking of connecting the dots, we have quite a bit to share with you. We'll see how much of it we can do quickly before we have to go back to the phone lines. On this day in 1655, a body of English sailors and soldiers landed at Passage Fort. Good afternoon to the people who live in Passage Fort. On this day in 1655, a body of English sailors and soldiers landed at Passage Fort in Kingston Harbor and marched towards Spanish Town. They were commanded by Admiral Penn and General Venables, who had been sent by Oliver Cromwell to capture the island of Hispaniola. Penn and Venables failed to take the city of Santo Domingo and sailed on to Jamaica. On May 11, the Spaniards surrendered. They were allowed a few days to leave Jamaica. Some of them went to Cuba, but others secretly went to the north side of Jamaica. In the month of October, General Sedgwick arrived from England and took charge of the colony, Jamaica. Many of the English sailors and soldiers and the people who came with Sedgwick died from the fevers of the country and the hard food and water they consumed. Sedgwick himself died shortly after his arrival, and General Brain was sent out to manage the affairs of the colony. He expected he would be attacked by the Spaniards of Cuba, and so he fortified the positions occupied by the English. General Brain died in 1656, and General Doyley, an officer of the army, became governor of Jamaica. In 1656, Cromwell issued his famous proclamation in an effort to settle the island, Jamaica. Land was granted to British citizens who were willing to settle on the island. Approximately 1,600 immigrants took up the offer and settled around Port Morant. So Cromwell used several methods to colonize the island. Grants of land were given out. Prisoners were taken in royalist uprisings. Prisoners taken in royalist uprisings were sent out as servants of the state. In October 1655, it was ordered that 1,000 Irish girls and 1,000 Irish boys, 14 years of age or under, be sent to Jamaica. And in 1656, 1,200 men from Ireland and Scotland. About 300 settlers arrived from North America and some from Bermuda and Barbados. Few of the early settlers succeeded due to indiscipline and intemperance. After conquering the Spaniards in 1655, the British renamed Villa de la Vega Spanish Town. On arrival, the English realized that the people had loosened their cattle and fled to the neighboring Cuba. The soldiers, in retaliation, looted and destroyed the town, which would ironically inhibit later attempts at settlement. When the English began their attempts at settlement, they were unable to completely restore the structures that were previously destroyed. To worsen their situation, they were not used to the climate, and tropical diseases took an early toll on the new settlers. They also had to contend with Maroons who were freed, and not just freed Negroes or slaves who had escaped from the Spaniards and had fled to the mountains. The Maroons attacked the English quarters in the capital and the other parishes, consistently slaughtering soldiers and setting fire to houses occupied by the English settlers. It took some time for Spanish Town to recover from many unfortunate circumstances. During this time, Port Royal operated as the capital. Even though Spanish Town was not at the forefront of the first King's House, the official residence of the governor was built in Spanish Town in 1765. During that time, many distinguished visitors were welcomed to Spanish Town. Persons such as Admiral Rodney, Horatio Nelson, and William Bligh spent time in the capital. The town gradually became the island's administrative center, housing the parish council, the House of Assembly, and the Supreme Court. After Port Royal was devastated by the earthquake of June 7, 1692, Spanish Town regained its supreme position and remained that way for nearly 180 years. By 1755, serious rivalry from lobbyists caused increasing speculation about the continued suitability of Spanish Town as the capital.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
Hey, what happened to all those goods you were trying to export the other day?
Oh, one phone call to my Spanish contact in Venezuela and he took the whole lot.
To Venezuela? But you don't speak Spanish.
Not me, man. The Language Training Center Limited. They do all my foreign language transactions.
You know, I have a reggae contact in Japan, but I don't speak Japanese.
Then go to the Language Training Center Limited, 31 Halfway Tree Road, 9262756 or 9260375. The Language Training Center for all your language needs.
Need water for agricultural purposes? Apply to the National Irrigation Commission for your irrigation services. Let's grow smart and eat smart with irrigated agriculture. Call National Irrigation Commission at 876-927-6727. Visit their website at www.nicjamaica.com or visit any of their office locations today. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture. Join the Kingston and St. Andrew Association of Brand Societies in association with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, for AgriFest 2023, Saturday, May 27. Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Playfield in Hope Gardens. Come see agricultural, industrial, and culinary displays and much more. Admission adults $1,000, children $500. Gate prize weekend for two at Sanders Resort. That's AgriFest 2023, Saturday, May 27. Ministry of Agriculture in Hope Gardens. See you there.
Ready up, Jamaica! Get excited for a one-of-a-kind experience on Sunday, June 4. The Orchards of True Juice Bob Walk come alive with another staging of the True Juice 5K. Come run, walk, and have some fun as we raise funds for the Linstead Hospital. Enjoy the natural beauty of our island while enjoying a truly Jamaican vibe. Entry fee $2,000. Register now at TrueJuice.com. There's no other 5K like it. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
A bit of the history of Jamaica for you. By 1836, Governor Lionel Smith, and that's why we have a place called Lionel Town, named for Lionel Smith, Governor Lionel Smith. So by 1836, Governor Lionel Smith observed that the capital was in ruins with no commercial, manufacturing, and agricultural concern in operation. To worsen the situation on the heels of the Morant Bay Rebellion of 1865, Sir John Peter Grant ordered the removal of the capital to Kingston in 1872, which, with its spectacular harbors and major trade links, had come to be considered the natural capital of the island. After the capital was removed, Spanish Town lost much of its life and grandeur. To date, Spanish Town is considered as a town of significant historical value in this hemisphere. It boasts the oldest iron bridge of its kind in the Western Hemisphere, which was erected in 1801 at a cost of £4,000. It also had one of the first Spanish cathedrals to be established in the New World. This was built around 1525. Most religious denominations have churches or meeting halls in the town. Besides the Anglican Church, there's a Roman Catholic Church. There are Wesleyan, Baptists, and Seventh-day Adventist chapels, as well as a Muslim mosque, the only one of its kind in the island. On this day in 1845, the first group of contract workers from India arrived at Old Harbour in St. Catherine. It was, in fact, on May 8, 1845, that the barque Blundell Hunter arrived at Morant Bay in the parish of St. Thomas with Indians who had been recruited to work as indentured laborers in Jamaica. The ship remained at anchor during the night, and the passengers did not disembark. 17 weeks earlier, it had left Calcutta, India, carrying the initial set of indentured workers, who were part of the scheme that would last for 72 years, only ending in 1917. After receiving orders from the agent at the port, Alexander Barclay, they sailed for Old Harbor Bay in the parish of St. Dorothy, which is now part of St. Catherine, landing there on Saturday, May 10. Today in Jamaica, this date is annually celebrated as Arrival Day. On May 10, 1983, Mrs. Edmund Bartlett, wife of the Minister of State for Culture, unveiled the monument commemorating the arrival at Old Harbor Bay, St. Catherine on May 10, 1845, of the first group of contract workers from India. The unveiling ceremony took place at the Old Harbor Square on Sunday, May 8, 1983. Established by the Indo-Jamaican Cultural Society and Jamaica National Trust Commission, the monument was described as the only one of its kind in the New World for the Indians. Others present for the unveiling were the Honorable Hector Winter, chairman of the Jamaica National Trust Commission, Mr. Bartlett, Mrs. David Manners, wife of the Indian High Commissioner to Jamaica, and Mr. S. Davidson of the National Trust Commission, who helped to supervise the building of the marker. On this day in 1877, at 8 o'clock in the evening, there was scarcely standing room between the parade gardens and the parish church as Kingstonians gathered to witness the acting governor light the first of some 300 lamps that illuminated the city in the vicinity of the parade. 1940, Jamaicans living in New York joined their Black people demonstrating at their cinemas showing the movie Gone with the Wind. The demonstrators complained about the portrayal of Blacks as lazy, servile, and content to live in slavery. 1942, Chinese wholesalers and retail grocers in Kingston informed the police that letters had been hand-delivered by a boy warning them to keep at least 10 pounds near at hand to deliver to them when they would come to avoid destruction of lives and property. The We is a gang of what was known as revolver bandits, which had been terrorizing Chinese businessmen. The letter also informed the businessmen that their movements were being studied and you should not move or make any effort to get the gun you might be carrying. That was 1942 in Jamaica. 1943, P. Martin Cooper, the competent authority on transport, announced that because of the current shortage of tires caused by the current war in Europe, he would be setting up a committee to organize pooling of private motor cars to ease the demand on travel by bus in some sections of the corporate area. He asked for motor car owners to volunteer to take members of the public from some sections of Upper St. Andrew into Kingston each day to work and back home in the afternoons. Essential certificates would be given to these volunteers to enable them to purchase petrol and oil. They will be required to make no charge on their passengers. 1947, Ewart Campbell, current leader of Class 1 professional cycling, won the second renewal of the ISA 20-mile Cup Classic, sponsored by the Jamaica Cycle Racing Association at the Town Moor Kingston Racecourse. The crowd of some 15,000 spectators was kept on a pretty exciting level for the first 53 of the 80 laps, as C. Prendergast, one of the Class 2 contestants, commanded the situation for approximately 5 miles of the journey. Roy Lintor and E. Johnson trailed Campbell for second and third places respectively. Or is that respectively? Respectively. 1948, Jamaica Public Service Company closed the Kingston tramway system. Jamaica Public Service Company closed the Kingston tramway system on this day in 1948. JPSC claimed that it could not afford to maintain the right-of-way or construct needed extensions. The entire system, all lines, ran until the end. Company records indicate that because of a public protest, the Rockfort Gardens line continued operation for a few more months until approximately August 1948. Construction of Jamaica's trolley tramways in Kingston started on May 2, 1898. Before that, however, the Jamaica Streetcar Company inaugurated a horse car system in Kingston on November 13, 1876. Trams circled the central area and reached Raytown and on the east, Maypen Cemetery on the west, and Constant Springs 6 miles north of the city. The vehicles came from John Stevenson Company in New York. West India Electric Company, registered in Canada, purchased the horse tramway on December 4, 1897, and began electrification. Kingston's first electric line from the tram depot on Orange Street to the foot of King Street was inaugurated on March 31, 1899. An earthquake in 1907 took 800 lives and damaged large sections of the Kingston tramway system. 5 cars were destroyed, but partial service resumed within a few days. The 1920s brought new prosperity to the city of Kingston and a new operator to the tramway system. On May 25, 1923, the West India Electric Company was absorbed by a new Canadian organization, Jamaica Public Service Company, which thereafter provided all electric utilities on the island. 25 years later, the Jamaica Public Service Company closed the Kingston tramway system in 1948. 1959, Titchfield Hotel in Port Antonio changed its name again, this time to the Jamaica Reef Hotel. Titchfield is the name of the hilly section of the town of Port Antonio, Portland Parish, which was the name given to the town itself at the time of English settlement. It was named after the English estate of Lord Portland, the governor after whom the parish was named. However, the town itself reverted to its earlier Spanish name, Port Antonio. On Titchfield is located Titchfield School, and it was also the site of the once famous Titchfield Hotel, one of the earliest large hotels on the island. The original hotel was built in 1897 by Boston Fruit Company, led by Captain Lorenzo Dow Baker, one of the pioneers of the banana trade, who encouraged Americans to visit the island and travel on his ships. The hotel was rebuilt several times. The last building, renamed Jamaica Reef Hotel, burnt down in 1969. One famous owner was the film star Errol Flynn, who sailed his yacht into Port Antonio Harbor by accident one day and fell in love with the place. He bought a lot of property, which he planned to develop, but died before doing so. 1960, Merlene Ottey was born at Pondside in the parish of Hanover. Merlene Joyce Ottey, born May 10, 1960 in Hanover, right here in Jamaica. Jamaican-born Slovenian track athlete she eventually became. Ottey began her career representing Jamaica, but since 2002 represented Slovenia, where she resides. She's ranked 4th on the all-time list of female performers in the 100 meters and 3rd in the 200. Ottey holds the record for being the oldest track medalist ever for running the fastest women's indoor 200 meters in 21.87 seconds, for having the most Olympic appearances, 7, than any other track and field athlete, and for having the most women's world championships medals, 14. Her career achievements and longevity have led to her being called the Queen of the Track. Ottey was born to Hubert and Joan Ottey in Cold Spring, Hanover. She was introduced to the sport by her mother, who bought her a manual on track and field. In her early school years in the 1970s, Ottey attended Gurney's Mount and Pondside schools. before graduating from Rossi's and Ver Technical schools. There, she frequently competed barefooted in local races. Merlene Joyce Otti, born on this day in 1960. More in a moment.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Come to the Denby 4-H Center in Clarendon Friday, May 12th for the Jamaica 4-H Club's National Achievement Expo under the theme Grow Smart, Eat Smart, Youth Responding to Food Security. Learn about Grow Smart technologies. Visit the Eat Smart Food Hub. There'll be prizes, awards, agency displays, and more. Admission adults $300, children $100. Gates open at 8 a.m. That's the Jamaica 4-H Club's National Achievement Expo, Friday, May 12th at the Denby 4-H Center in Clarendon. Supreme Real Estate, licensed real estate dealers, the experts in residential, commercial, industrial, hotels, and villa sales, rentals, and leases. Supreme Real Estate, Main Street, Salem, Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Call 876-973-5026 or 876-973-6142 and email supremerealestate@cwjamaica.com. Youth Excellence takes center stage this Friday, May 12 at the Denby 4-H Center in Clarendon as the Jamaica 4-H Clubs will host their National Achievement Expo under the theme Grow Smart, Eat Smart, Youth Responding to Food Security. Features of the day include Grow Smart Technologies and Eat Smart Food Hub, prizes and awards, a celebrity spice cook-off, and more. Join Power Talk with Simon Crosskill for a live broadcast from the event, brought to you by the Jamaica 4-H Clubs. That's Power Talk, live from the Jamaica 4-H Clubs National Achievement Expo at the Denby 4-H Center in Clarendon this Friday, May 12, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., only on Power 106 FM.
Que hora es en español? Son las 5:13. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5:13. 现在几点了？5点。下13分. 13 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Continuing with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, sharing some more of the history with you, information from the archives. 1962. The United States of America proposed to spend about $7 million during the following year on economic and technical assistance to Jamaica, the emphasis being on education, low-cost housing, rural water supplies, and agricultural credit. Technical assistance in agriculture and education would be on a grant basis, while assistance in housing, agricultural credit, and water supply would be on a low-interest, long-term loan basis. These were the main points of an address to the Kingston Rotary Club by Mr. Ivan B. White, Consul General of the United States, in his first public speech in Jamaica. Morris Goes Mod is the title of a show of the new Morris motorcars with automatic transmission, presented against the background of modern fashions by Ete Boutique and modern harmonic sounds by jazz guitarist Ernest Ranglin at the Motor Sales and Service Showroom on South Camp Road in Kingston. The cars are driven slowly past the audience by executives of the company and the salesmen. 8 cars were presented: Morris Oxfords, Morris 110s, and Morris Mini Miners in almond green, Florentine, blue, dove grey, smoke grey, old English white, and Connaught green. The fashions presented by Ete Boutique ranged from flared pants with Raja coats and poor boy caps to colorful mini pants with matching tights and outsize earrings. Senator and Vice President of the People's National Party, P.J. Patterson, asked the newly formed Association of Jamaicans in Washington, D.C., to urge trained and skilled Jamaicans to return home and offer their services to assist in building the new nation. Patterson was guest speaker at the association's inaugural dinner. President of the association was Keith Desmond Knight, KD Knight, Vice President Easton Manderson, Treasurer John Cook, Public Relations Officer John Juna, and Secretary Pearl Phillips. The Jamaican Merchant Bank Limited started operations in Jamaica on this day in 1972. It was a wholly owned subsidiary of Bamerical International Financial Corporation, which was in turn owned by Bank of America, NT, and SA. During the first 5 years of operation, 51% of the stock was to be offered to the Jamaican public, thus Jamaicanizing the enterprise. The bank planned to help supply the demand for medium-term financing required by commerce, industry, and agribusiness. 1973, some 20 eager women ranging in age from 27 to 40, gaily dressed and with stunning hairdos, waited in vain at the Norman Manley International Airport for a pen pal who, without each knowing, had written to them saying he would arrive on Eastern Airlines Flight 989 to marry them. They waited for nearly 2 hours. Then they discovered they were all waiting for the same groom, and one by one they left, moods varying from despondence and disappointment to outright anger. The days of the pen pal. 1974, the new Cornwall Regional Hospital. Did you hear that? 1974, the new Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, St. James, was declared officially open by the recently appointed Minister of Health, Kenneth McNeil. Also participating in the opening were opposition leader Hugh Shearer and former Health Minister Herbert Eldermeyer. McNeil announced that the buildings of the former Montego Bay Hospital would be used as a community health center until a new one was built at Catherine Hall. What a thing. 1977, the Jamaica Omnibus Service was experimenting with aluminium as a substitute for fiberglass seats. The experiment was carried out as a result of the scarcity of fiberglass on the open market. Already 2 buses had been fitted with aluminium, or sometimes they say aluminum. Already 2 buses have been fitted with aluminum seats and were to be put into operation on 2 routes in order to monitor public reaction. Aluminum Dash is a product imported from North America, or was at the time. 1977, a saving of $1 million a year in foreign exchange was projected for Jamaica as a result of the manufacture of toilet tissues using 50% of recycled local waste paper and 50% imported pulp. 1984, the gun violence in Rema, Kingston, subsided, and a reporter who visited the area described it as a town of the living dead. Prime Minister Siaga explained the cause of the terror experienced by the community during the past few days as the maltreatment of a woman from Rema. 1990, Mr. Seymour Mullings, Minister of Finance, announced no new taxes at the opening of the 1990-1991 budget debate. However, revenue resources would be supplemented by a 90% increase in tax on cruise ship passengers. Mr. Mullings said the expenditure estimates of 11,116,000 would be financed as follows: tax revenue 7,318,000, non-tax revenue 480 million, transfer from the Capital Development Fund 355 million, capital revenue of 832 million, external loan resources 1,782 million, and domestic loans of 350 million. And 2012, the official opening of Parliament took place on this day in 2012, with the Governor General Sir Patrick Allen announcing that 54% of the $612 billion budget would go to servicing loans and interest. And just before, let's just wind down here. We're getting ready to wrap today's edition of your program. Trust you've been finding the information to be useful and thought-provoking and stimulating. Franklin McDonald has also shared with us the story of the earthquake, 4.3. And this one says, I would like relatives of World War soldiers to call your program and tell us if they're receiving compensation. I was told that they got nothing from England but poppies. I'll have to check on that. Don't know about that. Have to check on it. And this one, Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada, sharing us a story with us, the usual stories. Thank you, Calvin. And let's clear some more of your messages now. Sean Chambers says, Happy Teacher's Day. Happy Teacher's Day to you too, Sean. And let's hop over to Facebook and see what's happening here. Jeannie Chambers, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Paul Miles of the eponymous Paul Miles Foundation says, Good day, Dervan and all listeners. Good day to you too, Paul Miles. Inez Ayona Campbell says, Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Natalie Winter says, let's send a big shout out to all the listeners and viewers, and more so, our visitors to the island. Welcome to our island home. Have a blessed vacation. Thank you, Natalie. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Wednesday, the 10th of May, 2023. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on. Nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, both sides of the story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Go to school and learn the golden rule. You will find out what I'm saying to you. That a good education will never be had. Take my advice.
listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
news, comprehensive,
I'm
powerful,
coming.
powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Bye.